The turf monster got him.
Wentz rolling, looking, firing, complete. Touchdown, Eagles. Starts to go. He is firing. Scott, touchdown.
What a throw. What a catch.
He steps up. He's hit. The ball is fumbled. Eagles have it. Eagles have it. They strip sack Jones, and the Eagles are going to win.
All right, I want to start the show by apologizing to Max. Max, tough one last night. I thought your Giants might have had it in the bag, so tough loss.
Sever for Trevor.
For your team.
Sever for Trevor.
How about that trip? Everybody, welcome on into First Take. It is Friday. We are happy to be here. I'm Charlie Arnold, joined by Max Kellerman, Stephen A. Smith, also Ryan Clark here with us to start the show. And everybody, I hope you were able to stay up a little later last night, because if you went to bed early, you might have missed that improbable comeback win by the Eagles. They were down by 12 points with just about 6 minutes to go in the game. And really, you can blame it on several miscues and penalties for the Giants that would put Philly in control. With just under 5 minutes, Carson Wentz hit Greg Ward Jr. with a 3-yard touchdown pass and then sealed it with a touchdown pass to Boston Scott with 40 seconds to go. Wentz finishing 25 for 43 with 359 passing yards, 2 touchdown passes and an interception. Scott, 12 carries for 46 yards and that game-winning score. Here's Wentz right after the game.
I was pretty surprised we pulled it off. When I threw it, I thought it was a little high, but he, like I said, he plays bigger than he is. And obviously there was a lot of emotions there. It was kind of a big, exciting moment, but a big kind of sigh of relief, because we know we left a lot of plays out there. But the way we battled and found a way at the end of the game was huge for us.
Right, we are going to talk about that trip by Daniel Jones later on in the show. But, Max, I want to start off by asking you, were you impressed with what you saw from Wentz last night?
No, I feel exactly the same way about Wentz this morning as I felt since the second half of last season, when people were pretending he was really good when he was just okay. He was a starting NFL quarterback. First of all, the pass to Boston Scott, that's as good as well a thrown ball as you could see in a high leverage moment like that, in spite of Wentz's own criticism about himself. That's why I hold him to a high standard. What do I say all the time? He has one perfectly thrown ball a game, right? Whoa, did you see that? 3 or 4 other okay plays, like good enough, and nothing else. Like bad decision after bad decision after bad decision. By the way, quarterback rating is an imperfect stat. I get it, but it's a decent basis for a framework, comparing quarterbacks. You know how many times Carson Wentz has outplayed his opponent this year, meaning the quarterbacks on the other team, according to quarterback rating? 0. He has not done. He's been outplayed on the other side of the ball every single game. Okay, let's take yesterday. And I actually took notes, because I don't want to just go to stats and have Ryan Clark, although it's usually Dan Orlovsky, telling me that I'm just looking at the stats. Here's what I mean. First quarter, okay? The Eagles are up 7-0. 3rd and 9 from their own 12. Wentz gets phenomenal protection, holds the ball for like 7 seconds. Does he throw it away? No. Does he take, you know what he does? He takes a sack inside the 5-yard line. Can't happen. So then they have a lousy punt. The Giants start the drive on the Eagles 39. 1 play later, Golden Tate touchdown, game tied. Okay? So you're leading the league in turnovers, but those are the stats. These are like the less obvious plays, at least in the stats, that are backbreakers for a team. Like, whatever you want to say about Carson Wentz, if Ingram catches that pass, they lose. They shouldn't have been able to come back on the Giants, but it's the Giants, so they could. But wait, there's more. We don't have video of all of this, but how about end of the first quarter, 1st and 10 from the Giants 30, Ryan? You're laughing. He again holds the ball, refuses to get rid of it until he's in grasp, right? Takes an intentional grounding penalty. Loses 16 yards.
16-yard loss.
Hero on every play. Then there's the play right after the interception. Wentz runs backwards over 20 yards, heaves a jump ball across his body, nearly the entire field. Why? What's he doing there? Can you explain it to me? I don't get it. Same drive, he rolls to his left, throws a bizarre red zone interception. He threw a ball, had no chance at a positive outcome. What's he doing? Like, there's so much. I can't even get to it all. There's not enough time here. There's a shovel pass to his receiver's back. Guys, if he was playing any other team other than the 1-6 Giants, he loses the game. It's the same thing every time. He wins against the worst teams in the league Barely. He has one great play a game, 3 or 4 other competent plays, and the rest is all bad decision-making and bad execution. He's tough as nails, but it's the same old Wentz.
Well, first of all, I just want to say this. I just want to say to America, I really, really appreciate Max making me laugh so early this morning. You know, you usually want to come out of first take, you want to start on fire, you know, bring the rain the whole bit. And I said to myself, you know what, I'm going to sit back and relax, you know, because Max Kellerman has been working at this. He started July 25th, 2016. Max Kellerman has been on this show for almost 4.5 years. And he has never, and I mean never, ever, taken so much time pointing out video about somebody until just now. But check it out. I'm not knocking him. But this is what makes me laugh. Now, obviously, we're living in very serious times. There was a presidential debate on last night. I'll be damned if I'm going to lie about the fact that I was flicking channels, going back and forth, watching a football game and watching this.
You had the debate on the laptop and the game on the TV?
Of course I'd be damned if it was easy for me to do. It was hard for me. I mean, it's the New York Giants, even though I do think the Judge has them playing really hard, and I'll give him credit for that. Let me say this to you, Max Kellerman, because my position has not changed either. I don't disagree with what you've highlighted and what you've said about Carson Wentz, but what I have religiously brought up, Ryan and Charlie, to Max Kellerman, I mean, look, Carson Wentz is struggling this year. There is no doubt about it. But when you look at the personnel that the brothers got available to him, I mean, my God.
He's struggling.
Listen. You're damn right he's struggling. I struggle too. Everybody would struggle. You understand? I understand it. In the end, what it comes down to is this. If he had better players, more experienced, more accomplished players, I think we can at least admit he'd look better. I'm not saying that it would be top-notch, whatever. I'm not saying that your concerns are wrong, Max. But I'm like, my God, have some compassion. Look at what he's working with.
He's an eagle. I have no compassion.
I mean, listen, he's not working with much. And that's the issue, Ryan. That's all I'm trying to say. He's not working with much.
Yeah. So, Max, what's crazy is I'm not Dan Orlovsky crazy about Carson Wentz. But when I watch him, I see it. You know what I mean? Like when you look at him and you watch him fight and you watch him play, I'm gonna bring something up that ties in to Stephen A's point. One, before I mention this guy's name, I think Carson Wentz is a more talented passer than this person. I think Carson Wentz, in many ways, at this stage of his career, is a better quarterback than this person. Carson Wentz reminds me of Ben Roethlisberger when we played together.
Yep.
Before the Antonio Brown, but right around that time when we were really good as a football team. But remember, we would always have the number 1, number 2 defense in the league. We always had an extremely good coach. We won football games, but we knew coming into games that we were going to have to watch Ben hold the ball too long and take sacks. We knew that he was going to throw the football to the other team every now and then. But we also knew that if you got into the Super Bowl and maybe Larry Fitzgerald splits two safeties on the outside to score a touchdown in the fourth quarter, and then he catches one in the corner of the end zone, and you need something special. You need some of that stuff. You need somebody that's going to fight, that maybe somehow he could drive you 90 yards and hit Santonio Holmes in the corner of an end zone. But see, the difference between who Ben Roethlisberger was then and who Ben Roethlisberger had around him then is why we see Carson Wentz in the way we see him. Because he's right. Stephen A's right. He is throwing the ball to John Hightower. I'm going to tell you something else about John Hightower, who made a great play last night on the deep ball late in that game. He also dropped a 3rd and 22 that would have given them a first down on the other side of the 50 against the Baltimore Ravens on the 4th play of the entire game last week. But Carson Wentz went back to him. And so you're going to have to live with some of these ugly things that you hate seeing, because you're going to get the throw to Boston Scott. You're going to get the throw to Hightower. And I want to ask you this question, Max, because really this is all it comes down to, at least for this year. If you're the Dallas Cowboys, if you're the Washington football team, if you're the New York Giants, you can have Carson Wentz as your quarterback. I believe every team takes him. Every coach wants him. And while they want him, that team immediately becomes the front runner to win the NFC East because he's way better than all of those dudes.
I don't know. I don't think he outplayed Daniel Jones, even with Daniel Jones falling down. I thought it was about a wash. But let me say this. Number one, Roethlisberger's a great comparison, and a lot of people compared Wentz to Roethlisberger coming out. He's a football player first, and then a quarterback. And so I get it. Here's the difference. Roethlisberger didn't regress. Don't tell me about the people around him. Carson Wentz was the MVP of the league through like week 14, and since then he has regressed. The team was going nowhere with Carson Wentz the following season. Nick Foles takes over after injury, after Nick Foles won the Super Bowl, and the team catches fire. They get to the playoffs to win a playoff game. Let me tell you, I totally agree with your assessment about Wentz, Ryan Clark. That's why I'm hard on him. You know what you said, and I referenced you not only on this show, but also on the Max Kellerman Show, ESPN Radio, 2 p.m. Eastern, yesterday a bunch of times. When you brought up Baker Mayfield, and it was like a sad day almost. You were like, guys, it's even worse than you think. He's just okay. So you stop caring about a guy when he's just okay. Baker Mayfield says, I could be much better. No, he can't. He can be better. He can play better. Good for him. He can work hard. He ain't ever going to be elite. Carson Wentz has elite talent, Ryan. That's why I'm hard on him. But it's been a long time, and he's far from elite today.
Yeah, I think you're confusing sports. I think in the sport of basketball, when you're working with marginal talent, you're in a position to take over and do things for yourself and your team that you simply can't do with football. Carson Wentz, when Hightower dropped the ball, what was it, a 3rd and 22, Ryan, that you talked about? And he dropped
3rd and 22, yep.
There's nothing that Carson Wentz could do about stuff like that.
You know what he can do? He cannot make 5 stupid plays after that to try to make it all up.
Well, again,
that's the problem.
Guys, there's a lot of really stupid things happening in the NFC East right now.
Working with.
Only 6 wins throughout the entire division. There is only one division that is at a worse win percentage record at this point in the season. That would be the 1984 AFC Central. So this division is wide open. Ryan, you're sticking with us. And guys, we have another game to discuss coming up here on First Take with a little bit of a different story. These teams are both 5-0, looking to disrupt each other's perfect seasons. Will the Steelers' top run defense be enough to stop the Titans' Derrick Henry? That debate coming up. Stephen A., what else?
Thanks, Charlie. Lots more First Take.